Hello, my name is Bailie. I'm an occupational therapist and a dementia specialist. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about activity directors and long-term care culture change. Culture change. Oh my gosh, right? That word has been around forever. And here in Texas, I don't know about other states, but here in Texas. Hello, my name is Bailie Tinney. I'm an occupational therapist and a dementia specialist. Culture change. Wow, right? That word has been around for a very long time. Um, so today, let's talk about activity directors and the role that activity directors have in long-term care and culture change. First of all, what is culture change, right? There's a lot of different definitions. There's a lot of different pictures and ideas in people's minds about what culture change might look like. And some of the aspects might include the environment. Okay, so when you're thinking about culture change, it's an environment change. It sounds different. It's more friendly and personable. It's more home-like looking. It's not institutionalized. So there's different decorations. There's TVs going. There's living rooms. There's pillows and blankets on the couches. The bedspreads are individualized, not all institutional and all looking alike. There's pictures on the wall. There's good smells that are, going through the environment. So that it's an environment change would be part of culture change. Also, quality of care is involved in culture change, and the quality of care improves drastically, right? Because it's more focused on the individual and not just getting showers done just because you have to get showers done, but showering people on their schedule, getting people's nails done, putting on individuals' makeup. Some women go into nursing homes and they've worn makeup their entire life. And the day that they're admitted, they never wear makeup again because they're not able to put it on and the care provider is not putting it on them. So being able to wear your makeup, going to the beauty shop when you want to go to the beauty shop and not having the CNA the next day wash your hair on accident on your shower day and ruining your hairdo for the next 2 weeks. Quality of care, brushing your teeth, having your teeth brushed, okay, or your dentures soaked like you would soak them at home. Quality of care just absolutely increases. And another thing is the sense of being. Okay, you're given a job. You're allowed to continue to be as independent as possible. We're not rushing you around and trying to get you dressed and ready for breakfast and then down for a nap because you're a fall risk and then get you back up for lunch and then down again because you're still a fall risk and then up for dinner and then back to bed because shift changes at 6 and we got to get our tasks checked off for the day. So it's slowing down and actually providing good individualized quality of care. The third thing is individualized focus. It's not activities for the group, but it's personalized activities. Okay, you have your schedule. My schedule for the day is not the same as my husband's. Okay, it's not the same as my sister's. My schedule looks a lot different than my mom's. And my sister and her husband aren't even the same, and my husband and her husband aren't the same. So everybody has a different schedule, a different agenda for the day. The same thing in long-term care. It's more individualized focused. We look at the domains of well-being. Okay, are they secure? Do they feel secure? Do they feel a sense of belonging? Do they have that connection with people? Do they feel independent? Independence is huge in long-term care. Are we giving them time to be independent? Are we allowing them to make choices? If we're getting up in the morning, are they allowed to choose what they're going to wear in the day? So individualized focus. Now, saying all that, that's a lot, right? Culture change is basically changing long-term care as we know it right now. And, we've made small strides, but we're not anywhere close to being completely culture changed and to making it person-centered and not institutionalized. So whose responsibility is it? I love this picture here. It says, "Don't look at me, it's his responsibility." Right? I feel like departments in long-term care are silos. They work individually instead of working together in most homes. I'm not saying in all homes, because some homes embrace this and their leadership and their companies, you know, their mindset is culture change, and they push the envelope a little bit, and gosh, I'm so proud of them. So, you know, I'm not saying everybody, but most long-term care facilities, you know, we work in silos. So whose responsibility is it? I'm not saying it's 100% on activity directors. Okay, don't hear me say that at all. Right now, as an occupational therapist and a dementia specialist, I consult with activity directors. You know, just to give you a small bit of information on myself, and the reason that I'm here is because when I got into occupational therapy, I got in because of the individual, person-centered, creativity type therapy. And I love the quilting and the fine motor and the creative aspect of the ADLs, or activities of daily living, and the leisure activities of, you know, whether it's gardening or exercising or whatever it is, not just rote upper body exercise, but doing things that you enjoy to do, activities that you enjoy to do, whether it's working or leisure or self-care, to get stronger. I find now, and you know, I love my profession. I love occupational therapy. I feel like it has a perfect place, but I feel like we've gotten away from what our original founding, you know, therapists had originally founded OT on. And I feel like activity directors are in the position right now to create a strong culture change in our society right now in long-term care. Who better to start with than activity directors? Okay, they're the ones that get to know the individual, get to understand their wants and desires and their needs. They're able to go in and educate and talk to families about their stay and opportunities, get to know the residents' past and what their goals and future, what they want their future to look like. So activities is the people who ask those questions now. We just probably need to dig a little deeper. Okay, so it's not just activity director's responsibility, but I feel like it's a great place to start, because in order to have culture change, we have to get to know the individuals that we're taking care of. Okay, we have to know them, okay, and their routine. We have to figure out how we're going to work around them, not them working around us. So the CNA's role is to provide care for residents, right? To help take them to the bathroom, or to change their clothes, or provide care. But, you know, we did a poll on. I just found this mistake. I'm so sorry. It's totally throwing me off. So CNA poll, P-O-L-L, not P-O-L-E. Thank you, autocorrect there. The mistake there. Sorry about that. Anyways, we took a CNA poll in some of the communities that I'm actually consulting with. And, you know, a CNA's role is to provide those things, right? To change them, to take them to the bathroom, to get them dressed in the morning, to get them to meals, to help feed people. So that's their role. But, you know, if you ask a CNA why they got into this career, why they started to be a CNA, a lot of them are going to tell you that they got in long-term care for the resident. Okay, that's why they're there. They are there to get to know and to take care of the resident. But in long-term care, we have understaffed because we're not making money, thanks to the government, long-term care insurances, and all the other people we have to thank for that. But we're not making the kind of money, so we're short-staffed. Say we have one per, you know, 10, 15, 20, 30 residents, depending on the time of day, right? And so we're cutting them short because we're not allowing the CNAs to get to know the residents that they're taking care of. So in a society that we're supposed to be taking care of people, instead we've created a society that's taking care of tasks, and that's getting tasks checked off. You know, in some of our communities, it's like if it's not all, if your task board or your you know, your role, your task off for the day, if they're not all green by the end of the day, okay, you get written up for it. Okay, so instead of stopping and helping Mrs. Jones when she's crying because she can't find her purse, we have to continue going, because if we don't get all these showers done, I'm going to get written up. Okay, I can't sit with Mr. Jones while he's watching the football game, because if I do and I sit for 5 minutes just to get to know Mr. Jones and talk to him about the football game and engage with him and reminisce with him, but I don't get, these people changed, then I'm going to get written up. So we become a task-oriented society whenever we really should be a people-oriented society. So how are we going to change that? Okay, we got to start somewhere, and I feel like starting with activities is the place to start. But again, it's not just their responsibility. Everybody has a role. Every department has a role, and we've got to quit working in our silos. So how are we going to do it? First of all, we got to shift our focus. We've got to shift our focus. Our focus can't be on tasks, yet the tasks need to be done, and I understand that. But we've got to start giving our CNAs a little time to focus on the person, to get to know the person. So start by knowing the individual. Gathering the information is the most important part. That's the most important part. Gather the information. So start with individualized schedules. Okay, what is Mr. Smith? What does he enjoy doing during the day? Okay, he wants to stay in bed and sleep late. He doesn't want to get up early for breakfast. Okay, that's fine, right? I mean, because we've got breakfast on the go in packages that he can have whenever he wakes up. So he's still getting that meal for the day. He just doesn't want it as early as everybody else does. So we're allowing him to stay in bed a little bit longer. But he loves going on outings, and he absolutely loves whenever we have shooting competitions. Okay, not real guns, don't worry. Okay, we're not pushing the envelope that far just yet. Yet. You see my key here? Yet. But he loves coming out and doing shooting competitions. When we have targets in the building or even outside and we shoot, either paintballs, or if we shoot Nerf guns and they're shooting at targets, he loves that. Okay, so he's going to do that. And you know what? He wants to do it like twice a week because he wants to stay accurate and good, and he knows he's got to practice. So he's going to be able to do that twice a week. And you know what? It's not just activities that's going to go set him up. It's the CNAs that are going to set him up, because therapy has evaluated him, and they know that if you set him up in a certain way, put a table in front of him, get his gun up there, and you walk his brakes down in his wheelchair, he's able to do this on his own. And he's safe doing it on his own. Okay, he's went over the safety rules, they've checked him off. So therapy, nursing, activities, everybody's working together to ensure that Mr. Smith's schedule is working. Okay, so we can add more things to his schedule to make it individualized. And you know what? If you have a community of 160 residents, you might be saying, oh my God, right? How in the world am I going to do individual schedules for every resident? Okay, I'm not saying every single minute of the day is going to be personalized. I'm just saying that maybe a few things to start out with are going to be individualized. Okay, Mr. Smith, the only thing is different on his schedule than anybody else's is that he wants to get up late for breakfast, and he wants to do shooting target practice twice a week. That's it. Okay, maybe Mrs. Jones, you know what? She wants her nails done 3 times a month. Okay, so 3 times a month, she's on the schedule, and the CNAs are going to do her nails. Or you know what? Even better, a volunteer is going to come in and do her nails 3 times a month. Okay, she's not paying anything. She's just getting that one-on-one personalized care, getting her nails done with the volunteer, as the volunteer is trained on how to reminisce, talk, communicate with her, and she's getting her nails done. Okay, that's all she wants different. She loves the bingo. She loves the everyday calendar, but she has that one thing that she enjoys doing that's personalized to her. Individual goals. Okay, so what are your goals? When you're writing your care plan, okay, it's important to set up goals. And as a therapist, I guess it's just kind of ingrained in my mind on setting up, goals for people that you can measure, okay, measurable goals. But we can do the same thing with activities. Okay, so if Bob is brand new to our community, he just came in, and he's a little combative. He's really upset. He's extremely mad that his family had put him here. He didn't want to come into a facility. Okay, he's upset. So we're going to give him about a week to cool off. Okay, but we have a committee. We have a committee of men that are in our community, that are residents, that, they come in with new residents and they go visit. Okay, they're taught and educated on the things maybe to say. Okay, they're able to go and just have coffee with them. They're given the opportunity and the resources to go have coffee and donuts. And they go and visit with him to help him feel welcomed and connected in the community. Okay, he's valued. He's going to feel valued after the first week. And you know what? After the first week, then as the activity director, I'm going to go in and talk about the things he loved to do in the past. I'm going to talk about the things, his goals for the future. And you know what? Being retired and all that, that's not going to fly. Hey, we know everybody has goals. So you know what? If it is just retired, then what does retired look like for him? Is it that he just sits around and watches TV? Okay, is there certain movies that he wants to watch? Is there certain apps on the iPad that he would want to participate in? Does he want to get really good at something? Maybe he wants to take up art. Okay, his grandson's into art. He's never done art before, but maybe I'd like it. I want to explore art so I can have something to talk about with my grandkid. Maybe it's when he wants to get on Facebook so that him and his grandchild can talk to each other. But he wants, to come to Facebook classes. And you know what? He might not like being in groups. So instead of the big, large Facebook group, we could have a volunteer come in and train him on Facebook one-on-one, or even him and his buddy that he met last week while he's drinking coffee and eating donuts with him. So individualized goals. Hey, what are their goals? What are their dreams? Maybe you have a female in your building that wants to give back to the community. She's worked all her life. And all she wanted to do was save her money and be able to give back and volunteer in the community. And she had a stroke and now she feels like she can't. So working with rehab, working with social services, working with nursing, how can we get her set up in the day to create something, to make something, to visit with someone in the community so that she can volunteer and give back? Even though she's had a stroke, there's ways to adapt things. Okay? Individualized goals, shifting our focus, the person, not the task of taking care of them. Okay, we've got to shift our focus. Is the care going to still get done? Absolutely. But instead of it just being another shower, it's going to be Mrs. Jones or Mr. Smith or Bob. And we're going to know about Bob. And Bob's going to become someone very special to us that we're going to care for. And you know what? We're going to really start getting attached to. And I'm not going to call in tomorrow because I just feel like it, because I know Bob's waiting on me and he needs a shower today. Or you know what? It's target practice day and I need to go help him get set up. Okay, so it makes me more excited to come to work because I know who this individual is. It's not just another shower. It's not just another brief change. It's not just putting someone else to bed, but it's Bob or Mr. Smith or Miss Jones. All right, so once activities has come up with a schedule, they are individualized goals, and you know what? It's not just activities. Again, activities can start this process, but it's got to be rehab. It's got to be social services. It's got to be nursing. We've got to talk about these people. We've got to talk about their likes and their dislikes and their goals and their interests and their desires and how we're going to fit that in, and how we're going to adapt our schedule to theirs. Okay, the things that they enjoy doing. Everybody's got to be on board. But activities has to step up and say, you know what, I'm going to be the one to gather the information. Once I gather the information, I know you guys have my back, so we can start implementing this to start creating a culture change in our community. All right, so implementation. Documents. A me document. They all about me. There's all kinds of different names to it. Phrases, resident information tool. You can name it whatever you want. Okay, but there's getting a document together on questions that you would ask someone. Okay, even down to which arm do you put in your shirt first? Hey, let me explain something. When you get dementia, you're going to want someone to know which arm you put in your sleeve and which sleeve first. Because let me tell you, once a person with dementia, if you can get them started on that routine, they can complete the entire task. I don't know about you, but I want to get myself dressed as long as I can get myself dressed. So if someone knows how to start my routine, because they know how I've done it for years and years and years, and it's just rote memory. If they know how to start me on that task, I'm going to be able to dress myself for a lot longer and stay independent, which is important. If they know how I, wad or fold my toilet paper, then I might be able to wipe myself still. That's important to me. It's important to a lot of people to still be able to wipe their butt. Okay, so documents, the me document. Get them very specific. I'm not saying do this on admission, okay? And it's going to vary depending on the area that you live in, okay? Sometimes in certain areas, families are extremely involved. In other areas, it's a drop you off at the door and I'm out of here before they even get checked in. I understand that, okay? So do what you need to do in your community, okay? And it might be even individualized, some of them might be on admission, and then others you might feel comfortable or need to wait longer if the family is just extremely upset about bringing their loved one. And again, they might be still trying to get used to the environment. Okay, so if the resident's upset about being there, send in other residents first. Okay, help them to feel connected and belong in the community, and then go in and ask them that information. I actually, on my website, have a me tool or an all about me or resident information tool available for purchase. It's extremely cheap. It's a workbook that you can use for your residents. So check that out, LookBeyondDementia.com. The link is down below. Another thing is information share. Okay, how are we going to share the information? I do trainings all over, and a lot of times that's the one question that I'll ask. I'll figure out a document that either social services or activities or therapy has to do, and then I'll ask the CNAs or other people in the community, hey, did you know that we have this document? Hey, social services works really hard on this document to gather this information. Did you know that you have that information available to you? And most of the time, 90% of the time, I'll hear, no, I did not know we had that information available to me, or I can't read that information. I'm not privileged to that information. We've got to be better at information sharing. Again, quit working in silos. Okay, how are we going to share? This is something that, I can come in as a consultant and say, hey, let's look at your structure and figure out the best way to share information. Okay, the quickest way to share information for the people who are actually on the floor and not just stay in the management team. Or you can evaluate and figure out, okay, what's the best way? Trial and error. Okay, and then just go do random audits and say, hey, have you read the page? Or hey, have you looked at the computer system that we set up? Or hey, have you went over there and got that notebook and read it? Or have you looked at their book in their room or behind the closet door or wherever you decide to put the information? Figure out how you're going to information share, and then hold people accountable to reading and utilizing the information. The next thing is use it. Use it. We gather all of this data. It amazes me how much work and effort we put in to getting information, and we don't use the information that we gather. Hey, behaviors are like a huge one on this, because you have a resident who's having a behavior, and in the interview you found out that, let's say they were in the war, and they were in Vietnam War, and they were high ranking in the Vietnam War, and they had people underneath them, and you know what? This resident now is acting like he's in charge. He's telling people what to do, and he's getting pretty aggressive about it. He's having this behavior, but instead of knowing that it's because that's the time he's reverting back to, is being, in the Vietnam War, a sergeant in the Vietnam War, we're just thinking he's just having behaviors because of his disease process. Not correct, right? Use the information that you gathered. You can learn a lot. They start calling him by his rank. Okay, start maybe be the rank above him. Okay, so that he has to listen to you. You're his commanding officer. Okay, whatever it takes, but use the information that you got, especially when you're having behaviors. If someone's wandering and trying to get outside, I use this one in some of my trainings that I do. I give a person a piece of paper that says, I want to go check the cows. And I have them not use any words. They can't use any hand motions because they can't communicate when they've got dementia at times. So they have to show the people in the room, and the people in the room have to guess what they're thinking. Okay, so it looks like they're wandering. They're banging on doors, trying to get outside. Well, to us, it looks like, hey, he's trying to elope. He's an elopement risk. Put a wander guard on him, right? Stick him in that locked unit back there because he's trying to get out. When really he just wants to go outside and check the cows because that was something that he used to do at home. He had cattle. That was his daily routine. If activities or social services is gathering this data and they know that he lived on a farm and then every morning he'd get up early, go sit on the porch, watch his cows in the back, come back in, take a shower, whatever his routine was, we might be able to guess what he's trying to do. And if we let him outside to drink a cup of coffee, he's probably going to come back in and get ready for a shower and not be as combative. Use the information that you're gathering. Be detailed in the information that you gather and then use it. Okay, review and care plans. Things are going to come up that not even families know about. Okay, there may be things that happen that not even the families could expect. And I'll give you an example. It's pretty sad, but I've had a resident in my past life that was abused by her father. And it didn't come out until she had dementia and she was hitting herself and talking about her father during the shower. Please don't touch me there. Hey, why are you touching me? You're so nice. Why are you doing this to me? And of course, it's an abuse allegation, right? So we have to go in and investigate. When we're investigating, her sister ended up telling her that they were abused by their father. Okay, that's something that her children didn't know. Okay, so it's not something that we would have gotten on intake. It's something, the care plan, that we really need to discuss and talk to families and investigate and try to figure out how we can better help. And things are just gonna come up, and they're gonna come up. And some families are not gonna be as connected as others. They might not know how dad got dressed. Okay, they might not know those things. But in therapy can go in and do an initial evaluation and figure out a functional maintenance program, okay, for 2 weeks, and bill for it, and they can get the routine for you. Okay, they can do trial and error on how they are as independent, what routine they would do to be as independent as possible, and how to set that up, and how to complete that task for them. So again, don't work in silos. Review it in the care plan. Ask questions. Investigate. Okay, involve other family members if needed to try to figure out some of the behaviors that we might be seeing in our residents. You know what? You can do this. Okay, you've got to focus, but you can do this. Creating culture change in your building, you will feel so successful. Okay, start small. Yeah, I'm always preaching that whenever I'm speaking or consulting. You've got to start small. You've got to start with micro goals. I do that with myself. Start with one thing, and then move to another, and then move to another. Okay, so start small and focus, and start with 1 or 2 individuals. Okay, figure out their likes and dislikes. So start with 1 or 2 old individuals that are already residents and say, you know what, every resident coming in forward, I'm going to do them, and every week I'm going to do 2 of my residents who are already here. And by this date, I'm going to have them all done. Okay, but you've got micro goals, 1 a day or 1 every week of my old residents that have already been here and are already admitted. And then every new admit, I'm going to do this document on. Here's how I'm going to implement it. Here's how I'm going to get it to other departments. We're going to have a committee meeting once a month, okay, or once a week even, to start out, so we can communicate and talk about the residents and the information that I'm finding. Or you know what, we don't even have time for another meeting. Meetings and meetings and meetings. I hear that all the time. But you know what, we have a morning meeting and I get to share for about 5 minutes on what I'm going to do for the day. Instead of sharing what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about the residents, okay, and how I'm going to pass down that information. So focus, micro goals, and gosh, you can do this. Okay, culture change. Wow. Good luck and God bless. If you need any help, here's my contact information, Bailie Tenney, lookbeyonddementia@gmail.com. You can also go to my website, lookbeyonddementia.com. My phone number is 432-557-8627. Feel free to call me. If you need a consultant, I am available for that as well. Or if you'd like me to come speak and educate your team members, I would love to do so. All right, thank you. See you soon.